Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty in defense of decentralized information. This is Libertarian View, your source of decentralized and distributed information. The advent of the internet and the speed at which it transmits information have created standard everyday terms. It is not difficult to enter social networks or any other place of interaction between individuals and find homogeneous discussions on any relevant controversial issue. That is where the virtual flags demonstrate all their expertise, throwing their moral superiority without any basis and ignoring the logical consequences of their proposed solutions. Released in mid-2001, Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty is the continuation of one of the most iconic and influential titles in the gaming world, Metal Gear Solid. Idealized by Hideo Kojima, the player controls the character, codenamed Raiden, a special agent responsible for rescuing hostages held in captivity by a terrorist group. What seems to be a story worthy of the 007 movie franchise hides a too dense script that, even being elaborated at the beginning of the 21st century, touches subjects that only came up with the popularization of the internet and the consolidation of the digital era, such as fake news, social bubbles, and even the cancel culture. Despite the extraordinarily complex and rich story of details, the final dialogue between Raiden and the AI, which throughout the game took the form of the mission commander, is where the implications on decentralized and without regulatory filtered information appear. For approximately 15 minutes, the characters discuss the future of a society where free access to information can lead humanity to ruin, according to the AI, requiring the action of a centralizing agent to solve this dilemma, in this case, artificial intelligence itself. During this dialogue, the supercomputer's significant point is that the human being is not worthy of freedom of thought because he will seek to believe in information that appeals to confirmation bias. His inefficiency in distinguishing facts leads him to accept news and information that proves his point of view, discarding everything that does not interest him and creating social bubbles. The absence of the conflict of opinions inhibits the process of maturing ideas. Despite its use to express comic and viral images today, the term meme was created by Richard Dawkins to represent a unit of information. The meme concept is present within this dialogue because the AI recognizes that genes cannot convey human history. All knowledge, ethics, and opinions are transmitted by memes, being also subject to natural selection. According to the AI, the digital era reverses the role of memes evolution. Natural selection is thrown aside due to individuals' tendency to validate only the information that suits them, ignoring any logical filter. As Jonathan Haidt exemplified in his book, The Righteous Mind, human intuition, represented by an elephant, will always select priority over reason, represented by a rider. The elephant is influenced by external and internal factors of an individual, such as, for example, its moral values acquired since birth. The reason, represented by the rider, works only as a mechanism to justify the elephant's actions, and nothing more than this. The justification of reason is selective because the one who determines the path to be followed is the elephant, and it is up to the rider only to select the facts that best justify the animal's actions. That would explain why people prefer the information that validates their beliefs, as said by the AI. It is painful for a man to be presented with facts contrary to his viewpoint. When one becomes aware of any relevant political issue, the elephant automatically chooses one side. If men make decisions based on their subjective values and cannot get rid of any confirmation bias, then an AI acting as an information filter would be the perfect solution to this problem, right? At the beginning of the dialogue, the AI tells that its consciousness was formed inside the White House, in the same way that the first forms of life appeared by joining chemical elements billions of years ago. This passage clarifies that the AI thinks it is the perfect evolution of American moral ideals, composed of standards solidified to implement such values. The machine is not exempt, and like dictators who sought to control information, it aims to instate the political agenda that it considers correct. It is undeniable that the digital age has increased the availability of information. Before the internet grew, access to information was scarce, and it was obtained through newspapers, TV, and radio. It is possible to argue that these news sources had a much more rigorous sieve than most news and information that we get today through the internet. Even with journalistic filter, it was not immune to value judgments and ideology. Separating the weeds from the wheat is a task neglected by most people. However, a regulatory body also has imperfections, and due to the scarcity of means of obtaining information, there is the possibility of ratifying biased opinions through its monopoly. Replacing the centralizing figure of a human with Metal Gear Solid's AI would not change much, no matter how much the machine says it will factually present the information. It is impossible to escape the political bias of individuals. It is enough to look at the current journalistic media to see how the same fact can be reported in different ways depending on the ideological inclination of the reporting agent. Even if the machine seeks to eliminate the dissemination of factual interpretation, people will return to the elephant analogy and formulate seemingly logical reasoning to confirm their moral and political values. The problem seen in the decentralization of information is creating social bubbles because of each individual's different values, which prevents the natural selection of ideas. However, instead of a centralizing system, a free market and competition among the media, together with an open debate and the non-demonization of groups that defend different ideas, would definitely solve the issue. The neutrality of information is still appreciated by society, so media that seeks to present factual information will have its recognition, although this will not leave it immune to possible criticism, since they are also vulnerable to errors. Likewise, media whose political bias is openly declared also have demand, and it is much better to know that this media information is clearly biased than to depend on a single information service that can sneak its bias in. Centralization solves nothing, not even if the mediator is a supercomputer. No matter how much AI says it does not want to censor but to give context to future generations, it will start from the point of view that it thinks it's suitable. If it wants to act utilitarianly, it will have to omit truths. If it causes problems for society, and interpret the facts in the way it thinks it's beneficial. If it opts for truth, it will have to deal with the way different individuals interpret the same information, appealing to censorship it claimed to be against. The arguments raised in a game's dialogue are pertinent, and even though the game was launched in 2001, those arguments touch on relevant themes of contemporary society. But only the decentralization of the media can satisfactorily solve this problem. Yes, biased views and half-truths will still exist, but the best instrument capable of fighting these evils is the freedom to criticize, where the market will judge and reward the news media that best supply a demand. The poison described by the AI also offers a cure, unlike a mediating figure who would impose its way of seeing the world for everyone. If there is no way to control our elephant, there is a way to understand how it works, knowing that censorship is never a viable option, even if opposing opinions hurt. Thank you for your audience. This article was originally written by Paulo Almeida, translated by Droll, revised by Simon Riley, narrated and adapted to the English version by J. Fernandes. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up icon below and share the video on your social network. If you want to be notified of other videos, hit subscribe and then the bell icon. See you soon.